Hi guys, what is going on? This is Scarlett, and today I'm going to teach you how to master every single deadlift, from the sumo to conventional, stiff leg, and whatever deadlift is. Now we are going to make huge gains onto your legs, squat gains, and the glute gains with all of them. And I'm going to tell you when to implement each of them, so stay tuned! Number 1. Find a spot to deadlift in a male-dominated gym. Just kidding. So that first step was a joke, guys. But the real first step is to do a proper warm-up. And for that, we need to go as light as possible, just using a barbell. Set your ego aside. Even if you are a male or a female, just use the barbell. And this is called an intentional warm-up. So effective for making your muscles pumped up properly and to prevent any form of injury later on down the road. Yeah, if you want to see my injury video, go through it. Now this is what I learned, and so you are going to go through the real deadlift motion, but slow down for that. And you can stay in each position for like 20 to 30 seconds. It doesn't matter how long you take. Just make sure that all your muscles are engaged properly in each position. Try to repeat this for like 8 repetitions till you feel so comfortable with it and your muscles are all warmed up for the real deadlift. Now that we are ready for the deadlift, the first thing that we want to do is find the stance that works for you. Don't copy anyone, just use whatever that works for you. And you have to find a stance as long as you keep your shins perpendicular to the floor, which means 90-degree angle to the floor. So if you have a narrower sumo stance, then you may need to turn out your feet less in order to maintain that shin angle at a comfortable position. But if you have a wider stance, then you may need to turn out your feet a little bit more so that your shin is still perpendicular to the floor. Now the next essential step is to build tension in your glutes and hamstring. I see a lot of people making this mistake, and I used to make this mistake too back in the day. So just pulling it up and then dropping it back down. But for the real sumo deadlift, if we really want to not be injured later down the road and also touch a lot of legs and your glutes, then what you have to do is build the tension. And for this one, it is essential that you think of the deadlift as not just a pulling movement, but you are pushing it. So what you'll be pushing is your legs. You're going to push your legs into the floor, and the next one, you're going to push your legs out of each other. So you're externally rotating as you pull it up, as if someone is trying to force your legs together inwards, but you are resisting against it. As for the position of your hips, you want to start off where your hips would normally fall back down in a sumo deadlift, and you don't want to position them too low like in a squat, or else your hips will shoot up before pulling the bar, and you also don't want to position it too high so that you cannot generate enough tension in the glutes and the hamstrings. And the third important cue is to keep your lats tight during the movement. This means you are going to press your wings behind your back together as if you are holding the pencil in between your arms. And you want to keep your spine straight throughout the entire movement. And this will prevent your back from rounding, which will also cause further issues down the road on your back muscles and your spine. Also, as with keeping your spine straight, you want to lift the weight without your head looking up, because if you look your head too much up, then the end of the spine is like hyperextending, and that causes an anterior pelvic tilt, and some people find it super uncomfortable, like even painful if you do that. So that is just one extra tip. Now, the next phase of the deadlift, the lockout. For this, you want to be upright and squeeze the glutes. Do not hyperextend. You don't need to hyperextend. You don't need to pull your back too far to the back. So This will just make the lift harder if you just hyperextend, which means it will exhaust whatever that is left in your tank, and you won't be able to go as many reps as you normally would, or be able to lift as heavily as you could. And last but not least, dropping the weight back down. You don't want to drop the weight back down like it's hot.
When the pimp's in the crib, ma, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
You want to do it with control as much as possible. So the first reason is because it is an eccentric move, and you may have heard of the fact that eccentric phases can contribute to more muscular damage and probably even more gains, even though there is still some stuff to talk about regarding that. But still, yeah, eccentric phase, you don't want to miss that out. And the second reason is because if not done with control, it could even break your form. So you have to restart that again and build your tension again and stuff like that. Also, it can be annoying for other lifters to hear someone banging the weights. As for the conventional deadlift, the tips are generally similar. So first, you want to find a stance that works for you, again, and that could be different from anyone else. And for this one, you're going to find a stance as if you're going to do a plyometric jump. And this is the stance where you will find your highest balance, your best balance, and it makes it easier for you to do the deadlift, and you can push yourself hard during that. And the next cue is also, again, to build tension in your glutes and your hamstrings. And you can do this by pushing your glutes back as if you are pressing your butt against a box behind you. Just do that before you're gonna go to bed. Just practice building that tension. And here comes the ladder to the stiff leg and the RDL/Romanian deadlift. The stiff leg deadlift, just as the name says, you are doing it with your legs stiff, and you can drop the weight lower, closer to the ground because of that compared to the RDL. And for the RDL, you're also arching your back a little bit. A little bit is fine as long as you don't tilt your head up, just like I said before. And another important point is for the stiff leg, the barbell can be a little bit farther away from you, but for the RDL, the barbell is closer towards you, close to your shins. So that was that for how to execute the form correctly for each type of deadlift. Now the question of when to perform each deadlift. Preferably, I prefer sumo, but it depends on your anatomy and also how you feel. You can judge it which one you can pull stronger with. Generally, for people with a longer torso with shorter arms, then it's better to pull sumo, and for the longer arms and short torso, then it's better to pull conventional. And also for the sumo, I feel a lot on my glutes, so that's what I like to do that too. And for conventional, you will feel a lot more on the lower back and the hamstrings. That is similar for the RDL and the stiff leg deadlift. For the stiff leg, you will feel a lot more on the lower back, but for the RDL, I do it on my glute days because you are flexing your hips a little bit more, and so you feel that greater activation in your hips and your hamstrings. So that was that, guy. Hope this was informative and helpful, and I will see you on my next video.